Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Molly White. Faces of Abortion is the only television program of its kind that deals with the painful truth of abortion. You will hear powerful testimonies from women and men who've experienced abortion and the devastation that it brought into their life. You will hear the truth about abortion from scientific and legal evidence that you may have never known. You will also be given practical steps that you can take to help end abortion in America. And if you're hurting from abortion, we want you to know that Jesus saves and He forgives, He heals. We also have a 1-800 helpline number that you can call and talk to a caring person on the other end who will listen to you, pray for you, and help you find an abortion recovery group in your area to help you heal from abortion.
Overwhelmed me, and I thought the only way to escape the pain was to take my life.
I had a fear that I wouldn't be able to have my own children.
It brings heartache, it brings hurt.
And I knew they were tearing my baby apart.
I remember the cold feeling of the room.
I remember laying there and I just said to myself, I will never forgive myself for what I'm doing.
I believe that my life was spared that night just so that I could be here right now and say abortion hurts.
Welcome to Faces of Abortion. I'm your host, Molly White, and I'd like to introduce my co-host, Clayton Trotter, the General Counsel of the Justice Foundation, and Alan Parker, the President of the Justice Foundation, and our special studio guest, Sherry Richard.
Molly, this week we're going to hear two women, Sherry and Blaine, tell us from the very secret places of their heart what it's like to have an abortion. And we're also going to hear what's going on inside the woman's womb through the magic of incredible technology that Sherry's going to share with us.
That's right, Alan. So right now, you're going to be hearing Blaine's testimony in her own words.
Hi, my name is Blaine Patterson, and I'm just here today to share my story with you in hopes that God can reach into your life and bring you to the healing place that He has done for me. I had my first abortion the day after my 19th birthday. I got pregnant living with my high school boyfriend, and we were in Colorado, and I had to call my mother after seeing the doctor and being told that I was pregnant. I was in shock and unable to really comprehend what was going on. I had some choices to make. I don't think I felt like I had any choices at the time. We drove back to Texas, me feeling sick and nauseated and disconnected the entire time, and my mother and my boyfriend and I all went to the doctor's office together. The doctor determined that yes, I was pregnant, and then he took us all into his office and explained the abortion procedure. Because I was 12 weeks along, it would be a 2-day procedure, and they would have to have my cervix dilated overnight so that the procedure would be easier the next day. I went home and cramped and felt sick the whole night, emotionally disconnecting at that point. And it was my birthday that day, so most birthdays have not been things I came to with joy since then. We went back to the doctor's office, and the doctor called me into the back and had me change into a gown, and I laid on the table and I stared at the light overhead. I could hear noises outside the office, but felt very disconnected from things. The doctor came in with the nurse. He said it would be over in a few minutes and it wouldn't hurt, and pulled a machine to him and turned it on. I must have flinched. I remember the nurse leaning over and telling me everything would be okay. I remember the surgical instruments, the feel of them in my uterus. I remember the feeling like someone was scraping me with a paint scraper. It did hurt, and I kept telling myself it didn't hurt, because they said it wouldn't hurt, but it did hurt. was probably over pretty quickly, but all I remember is the sound of silence when the machine was turned off. And they left the room, and I lay there for a few minutes, and then the nurse came and told me I could get up and get dressed. I went back into the waiting room, and we all left, my mother, my boyfriend, and I, and we didn't talk about it at all. We never talked about it again. By the time I was 27 years old, 5 abortions, and I know now that each time I had an abortion, I was trying to kill myself. It left me with feelings of worthlessness, with feelings of depression, substance abuse, poor relationships. It just fed over into every area of my life. That lasted for so many years that I just became more and more reclusive because the pain of being around happy people was just too much for me. In 2005, I took a walk with someone, and by the end of that walk, walking the Stations of the Cross, I was a new creation in Christ, and God planted me immediately in a local pregnancy center. I got the job as an office manager. I thought that was crazy for God to do that, and they'd find out about my secret shame. Little did I know that He was planting me there so that I could heal and be used by Him. In the 5 years I've worked at the pregnancy center, I went through PACE. I learned about God's forgiveness for my abortion. I was able to grieve for the loss of my children, and I know now that they are waiting for me in heaven, and I'm no longer afraid to see them. Even in the most recent weeks, God has continued to bring healing into my life. He has reminded me of who the girl was sitting in those waiting rooms. He let me see her and all of her panicky fear, and all of her withdrawal, and all of her shame and guilt, and He gave me a heart for her. What I want to say today is what I have learned from personal experience, is that abortion, yes, it does kill babies, and that is terrible, but it also hurts women. Abortion hurts women. Thank you for letting me share.
You just heard Blaine's testimony, and if this has brought up any kind of emotions or memories from your own abortion experience, we want to let you know that we do care about you. We do have a number that you can call, and there's people on the other end who are ready to listen to your story, to pray with you, and to help get you connected to an abortion recovery ministry in your area. And Blaine mentioned going through PACE. PACE actually means Post-Abortion Counseling and Education, and it is a Bible study that takes you through the process of healing from your abortion experience, and they're available all over the country. And Allen and Clayton, you know, again and again, we hear painful testimonies from women who've experienced abortion. And Blaine, you know, that one abortion where she said she didn't feel like she had any choice led her to 5 more abortions before she got into recovery and got help and met the risen Lord.
One of the lies about abortion is it's a woman's choice, should be her choice. But almost every woman I've ever spoken to says, I felt like I had no choice. Right. I couldn't take care of the baby, so I had to get an abortion. We need to provide better alternatives to women so they don't go through this hell that
That's right.
In fact, the other thing is that what closed in on around her after the abortion, when the machine was shut off, the sounds of silence.
Right.
And she stayed in silence for years and years and years. That's why we call it Operation Outcry. It's time to speak out and be silent no more.
You're right. And you know, and like Blaine said, and it's so common with women, is that once they enter into that first abortion, the cycle continues to repeat itself until, you know, God intervenes or something happens in their life to stop it. And like she said, she was really thinking that through every abortion she was trying to kill herself because the pain is so unbearable. You're just empty. Your self-esteem, your self-worth just deteriorates.
Well, you know, in that old song, Sounds of Silence came from, Simon Garfunkel, it says, silence like a cancer grows.
That's right.
And you know, in the lives of so